Let's watch a Seth video. I like that. I like Seth.
Hey.
Seth. Mr. Seth. Here we go. Tribal Hunter. Never seen this game before in my life. Let's hit it. Kabababooey!
Hey people, Seth here. Here's our topic of the day. Inflation. Inflation is a global topic. Some of the most powerful people on this planet
we're going through it right now.
People responsible for the most inflation. Coincidence? I think not. You might think it's just a way of printing liquidity for short-term gain and no consequence. Because, after all, everything is tethered to the dollar since we abolished the Bretton Woods system in 1971.
Yeah, we abolished gold-backed dollar and now everything's going to shit over the last 60 years. I like that part, don't you? I like it.
So, even if you're holding pounds, euros, or yen, it doesn't matter because you're equally screwed. Our hyperinflation is your hyperinflation. Hey people, Seth here. Here's our topic of the day. Inflation. Inflation is a global topic.
Dude.
Some of
I
the
bumped
most
my
powerful
mouse.
people on this planet are the same people responsible for the most inflation. Coincidence? I think not. You might think
Foxflation. Ew, don't say that word.
For short-term gain and no consequence. Because, after all, everything is tethered to the dollar since we abolished the Bretton Woods system in 1971. So, even if you're holding pounds, euros, or yen, it doesn't matter. Because you're equally screwed. Our hyperinflation is your hyperinflation. Enjoy. In conclusion, the Federal Reserve is run by hyperinflation fetishists.
Oh my god.
They're not doing it for money. They're doing
He's
it
grabbing his dick!
And they find it to be extremely hot. Now, let's talk.
Smuggle on a berry one? I would rather put a gun in my mouth right now before that happens. I'm not even kidding. No, I'm not. No. Gross. Thank you. I'm not into that.
About something completely unrelated. Tribal Hunter is a completely innocent game where you play as an anthro lizard who is sent to guard over the land. You fight, you protect the innocent. You consume your enemies by ventilating them
he's like Kirby
into your mouth. And it's really funny because if you eat too much, he gets large. Oh god, imagine that. What if he ate even more and got even larger? Well, that would be crazy.
Is this a vor game? Do you have a VOD channel on YouTube? No, I don't.
But don't eat too much, or you're gonna pop. This is an allegory for your blood vessels, which are going to pop if you keep going down this road. Because soon enough, the only way you can keep going down this road is in a motorized mobility scooter. Answer me this.
Oh, it's like the American Experience.
When Elon Musk turns off the Tesla battery in the middle of the woods. That's right. You're going to be kissed to death by a pack of nanny dogs who just broke out of the local nursery. And guess what? Breakfast was free infants ago. You're the main course. Think about that next time you're engorging yourself like the hungry caterpillar that
I used to love this book.
Game plays like a brawler platformer Metroidvania. It's like the old Metroids if Samus was or could become heavily pregnant, and this grants her gameplay advantages. It's much the same way. When you're small, you're very quick, you're very nimble, and you can platform really easily. When you're large, you hit like a truck. Your damage, your animations, your hitbox, they all scale with your stomach content. However, you become both vertically and horizontally challenged when each footstep is the equivalent of a quake in Asia.
This is definitely a fetish game. Holy.
Jumping is the least of your concern. This might not be politically correct to say, but there's no way to sugarcoat it without
he even pats his little tummy, man.
You're a fat fuck. So, how do we shed those pounds? Well, you sit down and you metabolize your food in a matter of seconds. When the morbidly obese blame it on metabolism, this is exactly what they mean. This is what they're competing against. This goddamn lizard just metabolized, and I calculated this, by the way. I took an average slaughter-sized 250-pound hog, and he ate 3 of those, which, in a span of 15 seconds, he has digested completely. That's over 500,000 calories reabsorbed into his body, and still...
Yeah, from a gameplay standpoint, this looks actually really fun, but then I would always think, like, yeah, this is an inflation fetish game, man.
Asking stupid questions like, Why can he breathe fire? Here's a question. Why wouldn't he? Sitting down quickly trades satiety for health, and it's your primary way of healing up between fights. It's actually genius design.
Kind of
like,
cool.
Think about it. You're making a game and you get really happy when things get larger. That dopamine hits hard, like coronary heart disease. But where do we go from here? It's all.
There's no mention of it being a fetish game or anything on the store page, buddy. Just because it doesn't say it doesn't mean it's not.
Already half a screen, and the commission artist is just not responding anymore. After the last request, there's no sign of him. Their postal address leads us to a monastery in Middle England. But if we had to deflate and get smaller as part of a gameplay mechanic, just like free refills.
Yeah, cynical game for sure.
Over and over again. You get power-ups, you get stronger, and you get access to more levels. Naturally, the most common and relevant form of power-up is increasing your stomach capacity. Now, you might think, oh, my capacity just got 10 points higher. And like me, you might initially miss that firing of a neurons, that transmission of a synapse, where you realize, oh,
what the fuck?
This isn't my final form. I can get larger. And so there's this strange drive pushing you forward where you're kind of morbidly fascinated. Because you see, there's many forms of motivation, and ours is to see how large we can possibly get. Who is this game for? Why are we covering it?
Fetishes.
Why is it important? That's a very simple answer. First, they came for the furry inflationists, and I did not speak out, for I was not.
Look, a furry doing the... Oh my god. You're coping that it's not a fetish game.
A furry inflationist. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out. That's why we defend them now, and we get on good terms. So during the upcoming political upheaval, they can return the favor and vor our enemies. Due to the nature of my work, I cover some really old and really niche games. Problem is, it's hard to get an original copy, so I depend on friends and family to send me a working copy of Bad Rats 2, Punjabi Pre-Cracked No Virus. One of the most stable ways to do this is torrenting, or as it's more commonly known, trying before buying. Unfortunately, my internet provider and the people who work there are the product of a brother and sister who loved each other a little too much, as they cannot distinguish between illegal torrenting and me trying to download a legitimate copy of a game I already own. So they throttle my connection and my internet grinds to a halt. Thank you.
I've had that happen before. Back when I lived at my parents' house, but our internet got throttled because I installed too many... Or not install, I downloaded too many torrents.
To Verizon for the opportunity to pay $89.99 monthly, all for the luxury of having no internet. Despite this, like a battered housewife, I insisted.
I come back.
They're doing it because they love me. Then, about a month later, I received a cease and desist from Verizon, telling me that I'm most definitely going to jail, giving me a list of racially motivated gangs I can choose to join once inside. I've never owned a paper shredder before, but I gotta tell you, it's strangely satisfying. That's my third letter this week, so I realized my internet provider really doesn't know what's best for me. So instead, I chose to install ExpressVPN. When I run ExpressVPN, my internet traffic goes through a secure
nice
server,
plug.
so my ISP can't throttle my download speed.
Obese girl
pre-pack. Nor can they see the sites I visit when I'm working hard at my job and sell my mental illness.
Yeah, working hard or hardly working,
it's incredibly easy to use. All I had to do is download the app, tap a single button, and just like that, I'm fully secured. And ExpressVPN does all this without slowing my connection. So stop letting internet providers arbitrarily decide what you can and can't do with something you pay good money for every month. Protect yourself today from the misinformed decisions of mega corporations who don't care if you live or die by using the same VPN I've trusted since 2019. 3 years, and they never failed me once. How about that for an endorsement? Sign up now and you can get 3 months of ExpressVPN for free by visiting expressvpn.com/Seth or clicking the link in the description box below. Thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. Gameplay is pretty straightforward. You help out your local village by beating the shit out of everything and consuming their dead bodies. For an island guardian, you're actually quite terrifying, and the village itself is a really nice place. What a beautiful day on God's earth. I wonder, what shall I do today? Work on myself? Develop my skills? Care for my friends and family? I know, I'll spend my entire life online and become increasingly weird and isolated. Divorce.
He forgot the part where you have to talk to VTubers. That's also another very good point he has to bring up. I don't think he does, though.
from reality. Self-esteem? What's that? I like the little townspeople. They give you a sense of community and a purpose for why you're doing what you're doing. I also found out the flying minigame is a really good way to make money. On the other hand, it's really difficult to explain to friends the nature of your anger. There's not many ways to say, I popped.
Oh
like
my
Icarus,
god.
I flew too close to the sun. Or in this case, I flew too close to one chicken dinner too many. And I have to repeat the entire stage. You can play using a keyboard or controller, but I strongly recommend a controller for your own comfort and sanity. Personally, I think the platform
this isn't an inflation fetish game, by the way.
Is incredibly difficult. I've had situations where I can clear the entire level, but I can't make a single jump to save my life. And then I proceed to repeatedly eat the same trap until I die. You have two spells, fire and egg. What do they do? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. Fire is fire, and egg can make a cow forcibly pregnant. Not really much more to say about that.
What
we
the
know the rest.
fuck?
The milk industry, reptile
What the
eggs. Some would argue you can't have one without the other. You get extra skills and abilities by defeating bosses, which in turn can be used to access new areas. Music is pretty nice. You hear the same tracks often, but they're not grating or pronounced, so they don't really feel repetitive. Some sounds are not balanced for the rest of the game. Each time I hit an armored pig, my speakers shake and my cable travels. In town, you can buy items, and I strongly recommend them. They can save your life or a trip
Supreme
back home,
Pizza,
which can be quite a bit of backtracking. Thankfully, you unlock the ability to fast travel relatively early into the game. I actually love it because the animation is based on your current weight. So if you're thin, you can tell it's a very pleasant ride. If you're not, well, it's clearly more of a struggle to stay in the air. At some point, I realized you can intentionally get caught and bloated by slime plants, break free.
This game has a lot of heart into it, I'm not gonna lie.
Infinite XP. Unfortunately, I have to witness something unsettling each time I do this. So no, I don't think it's an exploit. It's an intentional form of torture. Everything you gain is outweighed by everything you lose, namely the ability to close your
sanity
eyes ever again without that image burned into your skull. Enemies are varied
oh
and
my
will harm
god,
you in one of
man.
two ways. One, they can kill you. Two,
what the
they can
actual
forcibly feed
hell?
you until you explode. This is a similar experience to visiting grandma. The longer you stay, the higher your risk of cardiac arrest. She won't kill you out of hatred. She'll drown you in the pancake syrup river of love. Also, the death sequence for getting too full is arguably more difficult to swallow. Food is both your strength and weakness. You must constantly toe the line between obesity and death. They say video games are not the greatest medium for storytelling, but I disagree. When you see your obese lizard grappling the side of a cliff, his face says it all. Without words, he evokes one singular...
The art in this is actually kind of insane, I'm not gonna lie. It's got a lot more effort and thought put into it than most games on the market.
Concern. The enemy placement in this game is brutal. Forget those two archers in Anor Londo. That will seem like a pleasant memory when you're getting stun-locked by roast turkey. You get XP pretty generously, and this lets you upgrade your abilities at any time. Many of these are locked.
Wow, look at that! It has like a fucking skill tree. That's crazy.
On your punches, because relying on digestion for health is okay, but you can't do magic on an empty stomach. And that's a shame, because playing the game as a tactical egg artillery is objectively the best experience. Imagine seeing something pouring from the sky, and it's either going to kill you or
it's an actual game. Yeah, it's actually well done.
Critique. I hate slimes.
Hate it all you want, but still.
That is all. Besides that, sometimes animations really don't look like they should affect you, but they do. Like, you can feel a hammer's shockwave when you're not even on the same floor. It's a minor complaint, and they'll probably fix this. You know what? It's a furry developer. In all likelihood, they will fix this, and they're currently taking notes. That's the difference. You want something done? Stop recruiting on LinkedIn.
Talk to furries.
Affinity instead. Also, some of the controls can be awkward, but you can remap them. And also, you're just gonna get used to it. Reverse critique. I really like the idle animations. That is all. In conclusion, I give Tribal Hunter a
That's it? That's all you like?
It was there for me during a difficult period of my life. Each
fucking
time
furries,
I made any
man.
money, I would flash my wads of cash outside my wallet and comically lose them to a strong gust of wind each time. Eventually, I was left with nothing, just me and a small bag of crack. I knew I had to get my life together, so I smoked the whole bag, using them to outrun cars and siphon gasoline from their tanks.
I'm getting dizzy, man.
At the same
Holy.
time, I would describe the experience like using the devil trigger from Devil May Cry. I used high gasoline prices to in turn buy more crack, which I used to call fueling my addiction. I found this joke to be very amusing. I would repeat it often to the same homeless man I would hound for hours, running circles around him as he cried and wept. And Here I am today. Thank
Seth,
you,
you're such a schizo,
Tribal
man.
Hunter, for giving me my life back. Hey, sorry for stretching out the video, but I'm
Such a
happy to inform
schizo,
you all
man.
that Tribal Hunter is now on GOG. Follow my GOG link at /UNICEF for 15% off. For every dollar you spend, I will
Wow.
personally steal a liter of clean drinking water from the children.
I love his skits so much. It's not a skit, man. It's not a skit.
Need it most. Forget charities that make things better. I promise I'll make them worse. The developers told us they're really close to a 1.0 release, so even if you buy now, the game is gonna leave early access in a couple of days. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned.
So
Or
much
don't.
effort.
It's an open door policy. A warm thanks to the many members of the Merchants Guild generously funding and bankrolling these videos. You're all
Subathon
truly
stretch goal to
wonderful,
play.
unless
Nah,
you're
I'll
mentally
pass, man.
unstable, in which case I recommend comprehensive psychiatric therapy. Have a good one.
You should have had a discount code for a fucking therapy session instead of the discount code for the game. What did I come back to? Man, shut the hell up. Great video. Check it out, you guys. So this just gets so mad. I don't know how he gets like funded to like play these games, man. Must be a lot of inflation barons that love him, huh? Mommy! Piss, piss, piss. Shit! Piss, 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 piss. Fuck, fucking shit on calm. Piss myself. Fuck, piss, 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 fuck, piss, fuck, piss, 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 fuck,